What's going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have liked and sub, and let's get into this. I don't think anyone would be surprised if I were to tell you that something that Lucasfilm or Kathleen Kennedy or Filoni has announced as coming out is not actually going to come out, and that the creative in charge of said thing that's not going to come out is going to leave far beyond they ever see anything come to fruition. Well, that's definitely what we're seeing right here with James Mangold and his Star Wars Dawn of the Jedi movie. Yet another thing that didn't need to be made, that was already covered in canon, and they're going to butcher, and most likely has a creative who is checked out, doesn't want to get constantly noted to death by that story group, which is why Stephen Knight left, and we'll talk about him in a minute. But here we go. So Lucasfilm, which is still going forward, saying that, yep, James Mangold, who directed Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and we know how successful that one was, still is doing a Dawn of the Jedi movie, a movie taking place 25,000 years in the past before the movies. We know that the entire, at least in the old legends, which is still the real Star Wars canon, is 30,000 years worth of galactic history. And so this takes place 25,000 years back, before there are Jedi, before there are Sith, when there's just the Force. There's not even common hyperspace. It's before the hyperspace wars. And it's during the time where much of the galaxy was enslaved by the Rakata people, the big green Force creatures with the eyes on the side of their head, Knights of the Old Republic. That's all covered in the comics that they're probably going to ignore. So this is from Jeff Snyder, from the InSnyder. It's revealed that Mangold is developing his very first project at Netflix. But shouldn't he be over at Lucasfilm making a movie? No. Instead, he's got a project over there at Netflix, which is unrelated to Star Wars. Secretive family film is reportedly based on a book and is being produced as a change of pace from the grittier R-rated fare Mangold is known for. But also notably, this is not connected to any other previous project that he's been working on since 2017. This is something completely new, and that means it's something time-consuming. And when he's working on this, he's not working on his Dawn of the Jedi movie, which, especially after the buzz about Andor recently, and at least the best word of mouth Star Wars has had in quite some time, now would be the time to capitalize. And instead, he's doing everything but his Dawn of the Jedi, including an up to a Swamp Thing film for DC Studios, the Buster Keaton biopic for 20th Century Fox, which is still under the Disney, and all that. And of course, the long rumored Dawn of the Jedi, which is a couple years now, no script, no casting. So what are we doing? And as pointed out, no Star Wars movie has entered production under Kathleen Kennedy without substantial amounts of chaos, cancellations, dramatic reshuffling, switching out of the creative talent. So as they point out here, in 2023 in April, not April 1st, but in 2023 in April, Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi was officially announced at Star Wars Celebration, and the press release described the movie as the tale of the first Jedi to wield the Force and harness it as a liberating power in an era of chaos and oppression. Now, as I pointed out, there was already a Dawn of the Jedi comic series that dealt with these basically Force-powered spaceships that were all over the galaxy, that brought Force-sensitive species, all over to the planet Tython, where the first Force users went about, and then they end up rebelling against the Rakatan Empire and the Rakata, and you get into the first Jedi, because they were called Jedi before Jedi, and all of that. But again, even this, and this is before Disney took over this Dawn of the Jedi. This is when I was really not liking the direction that the canon was going. And again, before Disney even took over. So this is one of those lore things that we'd see even if they paid attention to it. But by June, of course, we had him talking. This is a Mangold saying, can we make a kind of 10 commandments of the Force, a kind of origin story of how the Force came to be known, understood, wielded, and harnessed? And then Daniel Reitman and Jordan Rumi from World of Real reported that Mangold's Dawn of Jedi could be filming as early as 2025 this year. Except, where is it? Because Mangold, fresh off of a complete unknown, critically acclaimed Oscar contender, and now he's over at Netflix doing his stuff. And then we've got James Gunn and Swamp Thing, although that one I don't think is going to happen. But the point is, much like a certain Stephen Knight, who's doing everything, but he's over there making new studios and he's doing Peaky Blinders scripts and all that. And then he eventually left that Rey movie. And I think we're going to see something very similar with James, who eventually, and yes, it probably didn't help him that Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny was a complete failure. And then rather than taking ownership of that, he blamed the fans. And so as you add it all up, and Dawn of the Jedi does start looking less like a movie on a launch pad and more like a Lucasfilm mirage, an announcement without a plan. If it's supposed to be filming this year or even next year, where's the production timeline? Where's the casting news? Where's the confirmation that Mangold is directing? Where are the scripts? Where's all the things? And as pointed out here, this is going to join the ranks of the Rogue Squadrons and the Taika Waititis and the Rian Johnson, Roundhead Ryan Johnson's mythical trilogy. Hey, Simon Kinberg is supposedly writing a trilogy. Do you think that will happen? And that is still unrelated to whatever the hell we got going on with Charmin Obey-Chinoy. So there you go. Don't think we're going to be seeing a Dawn of the Jedi movie anytime soon. And honestly, that is probably for the best. Let me know what you think about all this. By all means, make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And
well, bye.